Welcome. I'm happy to be back filming outside again. The weather cooled down significantly, and I think there are still mosquitoes, so sorry if I flail around a little bit, but I love filming outside. The light is better, and it just feels nice to be in relative nature. Anyways, today I am going to be showing you my method of coffee distressing paper. I got this neat pad, actually several of them, because I found them on sale for 25 cents, of this manuscript large print writing pad, and it's lovely, but it's a little bit plain, so wanted to add some depth to it. I'm showing you all my supplies that I'm using here. Got a bucket, or a bin. I think it's actually meant to be used as a portable cat litter tray, but it's wonderful for these purposes. Sprayer with warm water in it. I feel, might just be me, but warm water permeates paper better, and also dissolves instant coffee better. And I'm using two types of instant coffee. This one is from the dollar store, and this is just regular dollar store instant coffee. This one is an Israeli instant coffee that is my favorite one to drink, but this particular batch I found in my old suitcase because it used to go with me when I traveled a lot more than I do now. And a spoon, so I'm not just constantly digging my hands into the coffees. So I know I'm calling this video instant coffee distressed paper, and it's actually a double meaning. I'm using instant coffee, but the method can also be almost instantaneous. Not totally instant, but let's get set up. I never really watched videos on how to dye paper with coffee, but when I heard it was a thing people did, this is the method that I used. Also, I think probably because I drink instant coffee rather than regular coffee, that was, I probably should have. First, spritz the bottom of the pan. Then, lay in the paper. Kind of want it to be smooth. Oh well. It doesn't matter if it's not smooth. Spritz it. And, okay. A little bit of now I use two different kinds of coffee because I want some variation in the color depth. Sorry, this one's still secured. Actually, last time I did this was using espresso, instant espresso, and that made a nice, much darker contrast. So I'm just kind of doing the sides more. That's where I want a bit of the darker to be. And so this one is going to be the only one that I turn around and also do the back side. On this particular paper, actually it's not printed on two sides, it's only printed on one side, but I still like my paper to have some interest on both sides. So, and you gotta spritz it. Spritzing kind of dissolves and liquefies the instant coffee. If you don't know how instant coffee is made, it is actually regular coffee brewed and then freeze dried somehow, and it creates this powder of granules. And most brands are very coarse and grainy like this. The Israeli one is the only one that I found that is ground to such a fine powder. But see, the coarse one makes these interesting blobs, and the instant Israeli coffee makes this like more swirls and stuff. So spritz it till you feel it's okay. And if you wanted it to be truly instant, you could go right now, take this to your blow dryer or your heat gun. I mean, take it out of the bucket because the bucket's a little bit wet, and dry the paper. But this is the method I do to do multiple papers at once. See, the back side is blank, front side has the lines. And this is how I do it. This way, because the back piece has some, see, it soaks through. So there'll be coffee in between every layer, but that first layer is the only one that I did on both sides because this paper is touching the back of the previous paper, which has coffee on it. Yeah, I definitely don't recommend getting expensive coffee for doing this because you do kind of use a lot. But it's an easy way to make paper that has a lot of interest and character, and not every piece looks exactly the same. That's still dry spot still there. And so what I do is I just continue building up and all the granules will be dissolved and absorbed into the paper. So I might do some with just only one type of coffee. Just want to make sure all the powder gets wet though, otherwise it will stay kind of powdered. And the next one. I mean, actually spritzing this warm water might not do anything because I'm pretty sure that by being spritzed out and aerated, it's immediately cooling down because it's exposed to so much air all at once. So what I'm going to do with this stack once I'm all done is I'm actually just going to let it absorb overnight. Sometimes it takes a little while for paper to, especially for when you're using coffee to absorb into it, it takes a while to permeate. And my understanding is that other people submerge the papers in coffee, but a lot of times the thick stack doesn't, like the center pages don't get any of the coffee color, and then sometimes they dry mildewy if they're left too long moist. So this is a way, and it's not totally mass production, but because you have to give some individual attention to every sheet of paper, but it does ensure that every sheet of paper has character, is different, is unique. Oops, forgot to wet that one. I'm okay sticking my fingers in this one because it's from the dollar store and I don't care about it. This one, if it comes down to it and I run out of my coffee, I'm still going to use this one. So that's why I'm being careful in using the spoon. And make some of them darker than others. Now, in the summer, when I did this, I could do it in the morning and leave the papers out throughout the day, and they'd be almost warm by the afternoon. Then I would separate them and put them on individual placemats to dry, and then by evening they'd be totally dry. So much quicker process in the summer. Since it's pretty cool now, it's not going to snow, but it's drastically colder than it was last week. Anyways, you get the idea. I'm going to keep adding some papers to this stack. I'm going to allow this accumulation here to stay overnight, but tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'm going to drain the excess liquid out and allow the papers to dry a little bit. Perhaps I'll film that so you could see every step. And then the third step will be, once they're a little bit more dry, separate them and allow them to dry individually. And I'm back. I got a little bit of a late start this morning, so this actually sat probably for about 20 hours, and there is no liquid left inside. Everything either absorbed or evaporated. Paper is still wet, and I'm going to very carefully lift it out. I'm going to kind of rest it on this. Okay, so this paper is pretty soft, so it kind of wants to fall apart and dissolve. I'm going to separate all the sheets and lay them out to dry. Luckily it's kind of warm today. So I'm just going to scatter them around on my table and put some plastic on my outdoor furniture and just spread them around. But you can already kind of tell that some spots are darker and the color has absorbed everywhere. So I will do the separating off camera and be back with you when they're dry to show you the final result. Okay, here are my papers. I laid them out on this plastic sheet on my grass because it's in the shade, and wet paper should be dried in the shade, not in the direct sun, to make it less brittle. This one right here was the top one. It had all the puddles of the coffee on it, and so when they absorbed and evaporated, it left these smudges. The rest of them are more subtle. Some of them have tears, but that's okay. Those are the ones I'll use first for collaging purposes. And anyways, now I'm just going to pick them up and take them inside, iron them flat, and they are ready to use.